there's a weird thing that happens when you show something to people like comedy. They sometimes will laugh at it immediately and you go, oh, okay, this has got legs. I just need to tease this out a bit. And it takes, a couple of weeks and you're like, oh, I got a great joke. And then sometimes you are like, this is the funniest thing I've ever fucking wrote. And you say it and people are like, what?
Hi, welcome back to the Headbangers podcast, where your hosts Nathan and Brad. Today we're joined by Blayne Smith, comedian, Twitch streamer, and part of the Banger team.
If you're looking for an amazing gateway into metal, Doom just might be your ticket. It's a slower genre, so you're not going to get a headache from all that racket. But it's also one of metal's deepest genres, with all kinds of weird nooks and crannies and wormholes to explore.
First of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
I'm doing fine, yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. Can't complain, really. Like, I think UK is everything's opening up, so it's like, there's been more stuff to do at least.
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet. Things aren't opening up, but they're opening up soon.
When are bars opening and stuff for you guys? And
oh God, we don't even know. Bars is sometime in the future? ?
Yeah.
Well, it's going quite funny in the UK because like they've announced this roadmap, but they said we're not gonna go back on this roadmap map now. So we're there like, right, you promised us now. You can't go back on it. Yeah. So like, no matter what's happening, you can't go back on it. Everyone knows this is what's gonna happen now.
That's for sure. But yeah, honestly, it's really crazy to get you on, to be honest, and gotta say thank you for signing up to this, because I pretty much watch every review that you've done on Banger, and I always watch your Metal Monthlies as well, just to check out new bands. I think like one of the ones is Temple of Void that you recommended, and I was like, I love this band. So yeah, we actually got them on the podcast as well, so that was cool. I want to get started and just ask about your Twitch streaming first. Obviously, you played the likes of Resident Evil and Apex Legends. Is there any game that you'd like love to stream but you haven't yet, or anyone that you're kind of contemplating doing?
I'm always kind of torn with those games that are like really long, because I only stream like 3 times a week. I'm not like a full-time streamer. Yep. And so I think about streaming something like The Witcher 3 and I'm like, sweet, I love that game, one of my favorite games of all time. It would take me about 60 hours to beat, and streaming 3 times a week at 3 hours, that's, oh my God.
I mean, that's like 60 hours if you're not doing the side quest.
Exactly, right?
But that would be a cool game to stream.
I only tend to play like long games, so I can't imagine doing just shorts, especially if like I imagine it's great for Twitch streaming, but for me, I just can't. I'm in for long hauls when it comes to games.
Yeah, I generally prefer long games too, because I like a game where you like level up, and generally a game, if you're leveling up, you're in for a long haul. But sometimes, yeah, you're like 40 hours into it, and you've been like, damn, I've been playing this game for a month and a half. This is brutal.
Have you played Ghost of Tsushima?
Yeah.
Easily one of the best games I've ever played. I've actually platinumed it 4 times just because I had nothing to do.
Jesus Christ! I guess yeah. Quarantine.
I'm so obsessed with this game. I was like, I'm gonna just platinum it 4 times just because I wanna say I did it. So
yeah, that's definitely any of my favorite games. Is always like, I like action combat that's skill based, and yeah, with that kind of thing. I'm still waiting, like I'm sure we all are, to figure out this next From Software game. If they've really not told us anything, it's driving me crazy.
Absolutely.
It's just, as long as like it's not like a letdown like how Cyberpunk kind of was, because it was a great game, but that launch was ridiculous.
If you play it on PS5, it is a great game. I've really enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to. If you play it on this platform, it's all right.
I know.
Yeah. I was bummed. I bought a 3080 for the game, and like I said, my favorite thing is like leveling up and action-based combat. And the game was good, but the combat was not so good. It was definitely one of those games. It was like Red Dead or like GTA more like than a Witcher game, where you're not playing this because of the tight gunplay. You're playing it because you're like, oh, I'm a detective. I want to find out. It's kind of like all the books and movies I like.
I'm playing for Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, just playing for Keanu Reeves.
What are your thoughts on Resident Evil so far then? Because I've completed it and I really enjoyed it.
I was a little bummed on the game, but now that I realized I'm getting more weapons, now I'm excited again. Cause again, it's that leveling up. I was like, this is okay. And then I like, for some reason in my head, I just wasn't even, I guess cause I was like kind of a little underwhelmed with the start of it. I wasn't my headspace. I was like, kind of just assuming the worst about everything. And then I got the second handgun and I was like, oh, never mind. I'm still.
Yeah, like I'm enjoying. I enjoyed it, to be honest. Like it's definitely more reminiscent of this, the seventh one than it is, and maybe a tiny bit of the fourth as well. But when I think of Resident Evil, like I'm definitely more of a fan of the second and third one, especially like the remasters. Like they're really good because I like all the puzzle solving as well. Like that's something that wasn't really a big component of the new one, but I enjoy that side of things.
It's definitely been hard. The hardest part for me is that I didn't play 7 because 7 didn't have that like, any of the gun upgrading, any of the like kind of, anything that felt like it was like level uppy. And I watched a bit of it and it was like, man, Ethan seems like a real bitch. And then I'm playing this one. I'm like, Ethan's such a god damn it, Ethan. Every time anything goes wrong, even if it's my fault, I'm just Ethan,
you bitch.
Fun fact, I've never played Resident Evil at all. Never played a single Resident Evil game.
Man.
It's something I've wanted to play, but I've never been able to get into
it. The second remake would be a really good place to start because it's
really great.
Pretty much every other, especially the great Resident Evils, are old and weird. And if you played them when they first came out, you can play it again. But like trying to wrap your head around it as like a modern video game player, you're like, wait, I can turn or I can walk forward, but I can't. It's like you're like a fish. You can't like just like move left and right. You're like, no, this is a lot. This is a lot to deal with.
Yeah, play the second one. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I gotta say as well, like I absolutely admire like your actual reviews that you do with Banger. It was one of the main things that's like kind of inspired us because we ended up doing like reviews like early on, and then we focused on interviewing. How do you like sort of write your reviews? What's your sort of process with writing your reviews for albums? Do you tend to like listen to the full album, have like a few days, sit on it, and then go, okay, what now do I think? Or is it just like I'll listen to the album, keep listening, and then just writing it over time?
Well, for me, it's like because the thing I always tell people when anyone asks me like, oh, we kind of did reviews or I want to start reviewing or anything. I'm like, there's a lot of reviews. Like regardless of how small the album is, you can search and find a review of it nowadays. So why are you doing the review? Like, what are you bringing to this review that other people don't? So almost every time when I'm listening to an album, the way I start is I'm coming at the review like a comedian because that's how I come at things. And so I generally like the point I start from is when I'm listening to it, whether it's I'm stoked about it or whether I'm hating it, I generally come up with a joke first and I place in some jokes and then I am kind of like filling in the gaps between the jokes. That's like how I kind of wind up approaching everything just because, that's why I think what I think I'm bringing to the review table is I make the reviews funny. So, sometimes people that don't care about the album will just watch a review of mine. I've been told that a lot. So I kind of am thinking about it. Okay, well, for me, the review's a video. I'm doing video reviews. And the reason I think people would watch a video review is for entertainment. So how do I make this as entertaining as possible? And what about this album jumps out at me as something that can be entertaining for people to hear about?
That's actually an interesting way of putting it. Like, I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, I suppose now that you pointed out, it is probably the most important thing is to it needs to make sure you entertain people. Because I've always found like your reviews so funny but also informative about the album. Like, I don't think I've ever watched a review on an album then listened to the album. I don't think I've ever disagreed with anything that you've ever pulled up on it. I've been like, oh, actually, yeah, you had a great point at this song, or you had a great point at this track. Like, I've never disagreed with you with it. Yeah,
right. I mean, that's the kind of thing I'm going for as well. Is that some people think like reviewing is like an objective thing where it's like, oh, this album's either good or bad. And I find people like that a lot of times are approaching it from like a technical music perspective. Oh, you know, this was an impressive solo that they played here. But sometimes an impressive solo doesn't sound good to someone that doesn't know what a solo is. And, you know, or like you know, they don't know what this specific aspect of a solo is or why it's impressive. And so for those are probably the people that are watching a review. If you're a super technical musician, you're probably coming to your own conclusions about a record a lot of the times. So for me, I try and explain things in a way that is everybody can understand. And I also just try and go, okay, did I like this record? I don't really care if this record was an impressive technical feat if I don't like listening to it, because there's there's so many reviewers nowadays. So the nice thing about reviews now is you can really just find someone that you connect with personally. Like, oh, I just happen to have the same taste as this person. So I'm watching the reviews because if they like a record, I'm probably going to like it. And it doesn't matter if the solo on it was really technical or really simple. If the simple solo had a nice hook to it, then it's going to get in my brain and I'm going to enjoy it. And the same with it if it was technical. So I'm just kind of going on like, all right, it seems like I have a taste that people agree with enough people to make this worthwhile for me to do. So, you know, just put on a record. If I'm enjoying it, then who cares if it's like sounds like 3 other records? If it's a really sounds like those 3 other records real good, then thumbs up for me. If it sounds like a singular record, but it sounds like a singular record because who the fuck would want to make a record that sounds like this? Then that's not necessarily a good thing.
Absolutely. And also, it's like, is there any albums that you wanted to review on Banger but you couldn't, or is there any sort of review that you gave and, you know, after kind of contemplating it, after spending some time with it, like you actually changed your mind about the album that you reviewed and oh, I actually like it now, or you dislike it afterwards? Has there any kind of been any albums like that for you?
I mean, every time the part of the reason I made Metal Monthly as a show is because every month there was like at least 5 records that I was like, damn, I wish I could have reviewed these because I'm really excited about them. I just have stuff I want to say about them. And I think these bands deserve to be heard by more people. And then I kind of just talked them into being like, because at first when I described the show, it was like, well, it sounds like you're just listing 5 albums. And I mean, you could just make a list and put it up somewhere. And it's like, I'm not listing 5 albums, I swear. I'm going to be on camera and you're going to see the passion I have for these records, how excited I am by these records. And more so than just seeing like, hey, here's 5 records. It's going to be like someone going, you know, a list is like, hey, here's 5 records you might like. Me on Metal Monthly is like, hey, these are 5 records. Buy them, right? And that is comes across to people a little more strongly. It's like I'm just grabbing people and shaking them in the videos, right? And so that's kind of been a great thing. And as far as reviews go, almost always I'm pretty happy with what I arrived on because part of me, I like being naturally, I think all comedians like being shitheads a little bit. You know, you like getting a rise out of people. You like kind of saying something that they're not going to agree with instinctively. And so I naturally will just kind of come at almost every record I put on pessimistically. And then the ones that I haven't, it's like I've given out 2 5s. One was to a Hooded Menace record that I think is amazing. And the amount of people that have told me they started listening to Hooded Menace because of me, again, feels like I justified it. And the other was Bell Witch Mirror Reaper. And I don't think I need to justify giving that a 5, considering like how people have reacted to that record, completely separate of me. People that have no idea who I am reacted to that record the same way I did. So, you know, people always get worried about giving the high scores and the low scores. That Morbid Angel record, people were pissed at me for reviewing negatively, but you know, 2 or 3 years on, no one talks about that record. No one's like, damn, that Morbid Angel record sure was sick. A bunch of people were excited Morbid Angel was back, but I haven't heard anyone mention, I haven't seen anyone mention that record online. No one except for like some hardcore Morbid Angel fans give a shit about that record.
It fucking sucks, man. I mean,
me and my friends were talking about this actually. I was like, have you noticed something? And they go, what? I go, have you ever heard anyone ever say, oh, I can't remember the name of that one particular record, but I'm like, you always hear Autos of Madness and then like all the old stuff. And that one record, it's like, oh yeah, shit, they did that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
you know, even the infamous Morbid Angel record, the most infamous, at least that for me, that record's better than Kingdom's Disdain, because I'm like, at least it created something that we could all joke about, and like it caused a more significant reaction. The reason I was so
You
mad
remember
about
it for
that,
something.
yeah, right. The
Yeah.
reason I was so mad at this one is I was like, eh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't even remember the name of it. Like, you know, there's so many records that I would listen to, and I always remember the name of them.
Yeah.
And that one, I listened to it back to back, and I was there like, it's just a bit meh.
Do you know what it is as well? Do you know what it is? It's like, you know, when you watch like a really bad horror film, but it's like you get the really bad horror films that are enjoyable because you see it more as a comedy. But this is like one of those horror films that is just plain bad. It's not even funny in any aspect at all.
Yeah, it's like a mid-level. It's like one of the mid-numbered Saw movies where you're like, "Damn, you guys are just, you guys just saw a pile of money on a table, and we're like, I guess, you know, need a new addition on the back of the house."
It'll pass.
One thing I want to ask as well is like, if there was any like non-metal album that you could review, which one would you pick and why?
Oh man, I there's always a temptation to kind of step out and review some non-metal records. A thing I think that I've always kind of wanted to somehow be able to review and talk about is the hip hop records, because there are some like hip hop records that I really kind of listen to and go like, this doesn't sound like metal, but there's like something about it that I go like, I feel like metal heads would enjoy this. You know, there's like something about it that, like, there was the last Freddie Gibbs album, Alfredo. It had all these like samples on it that were, you know, and it's this some of the samples are like, one of the samples is like, I don't know what it's from, but it's like, you know, a guy talking about selling crack. It's like a really brutal record, a really brutal sample, and it's really racist and
I think he froze on our side. Oh.
Nope.
Let me drop him a message. Oh,
all right, it's all
there
good.
we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he
Awesome.
froze for a second.
We'll take up. I'll start that whole segment again.
Yeah.
Like it never.
Yeah.
You know.
No problem. Go for it.
That's the problem with Teams. It just sometimes it just freezes.
Yeah, we can. We'll get to it in post. No one will know.
Yeah, I'll sort it
No
out.
worries.
Don't worry about it. Continue.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm always tempted to like review outside of metal, just because I do think that there are non-metal records that metalheads might not be aware of that have a component that they'll get excited about too. Like the last Freddie Gibbs album called Alfredo, it has like some of these audio samples on it are like really gnarly. Like there's one where a guy's talking about like, it's like I assume it's from a movie or something that I just don't know. And he's like, do you know I like selling crack? And he like talks about just like, it's not for the money. And then he talks about all the terrible things it does to communities, especially black communities. And he's like, and it warms my soul. And I'm just like, that clip could just boom, grindcore album, no problem. It would, that Gravesend record that just came out, it would have fit perfectly on there.
Yeah, you could literally put that on a slam song and it would not sound
yeah,
out
that would
right?
be on a slam song.
Like
sure.
you could tell why it would just fit. Like, and then you just hear like a drum roll and then just some
right?
guitar rolls, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But that's what I find like so interesting though, specifically about that you brought up hip hop though, is there's so many hip hop artists that are influenced by metal that are coming out, and like you can hear it sneaking through. Like there's so many artists where I've been listening to them, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, let me just have like a look at this guy's Instagram, and you'll see him wearing all the Morbid Angel stuff, and then like you watch him in an interview, and they're like, oh, in an interview, and they're like, oh yeah, I actually listen to metal all the time, and you're like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. Like all the Odd Future guys did a lot of like really metal imagery, and again, right? It's like there's a similarity between, especially there's can be a bit of a disparity between metal artists and fans. A lot, I think. You find a lot of metal fans are like, oh, we get in this mindset where it's like, oh, I can only listen to metal, and if I start listening to anything that isn't metal, it's because I'm not really metal. But you talk like I meet these bands, I interview these bands, I'm hanging out with these guys, and the last thing they want to talk about is metal. They heard a jazz record last week they want to talk about, and and then they'll tell you, oh, that influenced this. I was listening to a lot of Yes when I wrote this really heavy album. And it kind of is the same way hip hop works, right? Where it's like the influence isn't necessarily super obvious, but then you get it's 8 seconds from a jazz song they heard, and they go, oh, I could probably do this to that and this and that and put drum beat underneath, and boom, we've got a great song. And a lot of that is the way a lot of metal artists write. So I think there is an overlap that the two scenes could embrace rather than resist.
Well, exactly, and I think after speaking to so many metal bands as well, like we've spoke to, like a lot of them do listen, like they say, oh yeah, in the van we don't really listen to much metal. We'll listen to like ABBA or something on the way back from the gig, and it's like something crazy like that. Because I think, especially if you're a band as well, you're gonna listen to metal all day. Like you're playing it, you're rehearsing it, you're playing it live. Like so, when you have a moment to yourself, you probably want to listen to something that's completely not metal, just to kind of cleanse yourself. You know what I mean?
I mean, even me, I find a lot of my, like, the more I've done this, the more my recreational listening has kind of, there's records every month that really grab me, but a lot of my recreational listening, I just have to work in other stuff because it's like eating as well, right? Where it's like, if you eat just too much of this exact same flavor, no matter how nice the thing is, it'll dull it. You need kind of something to balance it in between so that you can kind of not wind up just, deadening yourself to this and being as impressed as you should be by this record.
Yeah,
it was something Brad never believed me on, because I said that I was like, when I'm writing with my band, I was like, I don't listen to metal at all, and he goes, what, why? I was like, wouldn't done that doesn't make much sense, like wouldn't you be listening to a lot of it, so then you kind of pick up influences and stuff? I'm like, no. I said, because I'll go in and 8 hours a day for writing, I'll only hear metal, so when I leave, I don't want to fucking listen to it at all.
Right?
I just want to listen to something chill. So I'll just pop on some just pop music or something like that, just something in the background, because I can't not have music playing. But just after the entire day of hearing blast beats and guitars, you're like, fuck it. I just don't want to listen to it anymore.
It's because it's especially because it's like intense, right? It really, it's rough. It's rough stuff. And people go, oh, I wish my job was to listen to metal all day. And it's like, look, I'm not saying I don't love my job and I don't love listening to metal all day. I'm just saying that it's still, there's a percentage of it that's a job. It's much smaller than every other job. It's 10 or 20% of it feels like a job and 80% of it feels like a blast. But there's still that 10 and 20% that feels like a job. And if you don't give yourself a break from that 10 and 20% starts to grow.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We've noticed that with this podcast, we love interviewing people, but we're like, okay, it turns out having a podcast is actually a lot of work.
Yeah, right?
It really is, yeah.
No,
absolutely. So obviously, I want to get into the fact that you're a stand-up comedian as well. So can you take us through the process of conjuring up the idea for a joke to when you give it the green light to say, yeah, this is good, I can deliver this? Take us through that.
Yeah, it's a weird process that a lot of people kind of have a peculiar thing about, where it really just, a lot of it comes from just living life. And it's a thing that you can kind of get a little, sometimes, you can just be doing too much comedy and you're like, oh, I'm in this kind of lull. I'm having this writer's block. What's going on? And then you just are pissed off and you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna not do comedy for a week. And you go out and you just go to a cottage or something, and something happens at the cottage and you're like, oh yeah, this comes from life experience. If you're just in a comedy bubble, it's gonna be harder to write stuff. And then as you get, I find as you go on in comedy, a lot of it comes from just you've got to just do it. You've got to just try the joke. You've got to write it on your own, and then you just got to go spit it out at people. And you do those on the lower stake shows, right? That's what the open mics are for. That's what, you're expecting this great show, and you show up and there's 8 people in the crowd, and you can get bummed about that there's 8 people in the crowd, or you can bust out that thing that you've been working on, because there's a weird thing that happens when you show something to people like comedy. They sometimes will laugh at it immediately, and you go, oh, okay, this has got legs. I just need to tease this out a bit, and it takes a couple of weeks, and you're like, oh, I got a great joke. And then sometimes you are like, this is the funniest thing I've ever fucking wrote, and you say it, and people are like, what? That's not funny. And you're like, no, that's really funny. And they're like, no, it's not. And you're like, I think you're wrong here. And then you try it in front of like 6 more crowds, and another 6 like focus groups are like, no, that's not funny. You're wrong. And you're like, I've been doing this a little while, and I feel like I've got a pretty good idea about what's funny. And they're like, well, apparently not. There's a joke I always talk about whenever I'm talking. I was doing a joke about how you never see a female magician. Like when you think about magicians, that is a field where women have made no inroads and seem to have no interest in making inroads.
That is very true, to be fair. Like,
I got like Houdini. Oh, there's so many.
David Blayne,
fucking
David Copperfield, Chris Angel. Name a famous there's no famous female magicians. And then people like, at best, people were like, that's true. And I'm like, but isn't it funny? And they're like, no. And then sometimes
it's true though.
Yeah. And then sometimes you tell a joke and you think something's funny in it, and the crowd laughs at a different spot, and you go, oh, wait, I meant to do that the whole time. And then you start figuring out. But yeah, a lot of the times it's kind of like sculpting, where you just show them a block of marble, and the laughs kind of indicate where you need to chisel. And then you just kind of follow the laughs around, and then you kind of get a finished thing.
It's quite funny what you said as well, just like that people will laugh at sometimes at the wrong bits, and then like, no, please wait for the punchline. I swear, the best bits will come.
You're like, what? Okay. The worst is sometimes people will laugh, and then they'll laugh over the punchline, and you're like, no, shut the fuck up.
So how did you get into doing comedy? Like, was it something you always like sort of had, or is it like as life kind of went on, you kind of grew into humor more? Or like, were you the typical class clown?
It was a thing where since I was like of a child, I loved comedy in any form, stand up, comic strips. Like, yeah, I remember just getting stacks of Garfield books as a child, anything I could get my hands on comedy wise, I would love. And it took me a long time to do comedy though, because, comedy as a job is one of the most obtuse things. There is no obvious way into it, and it's very strange. And I was under the impression where it was like, because you don't see middle stand-up comedy in your life ever, like there's like underground bands, right? I'm sure all of our favorite bands are like not people that the average person would associate with. Oh, that's how you could make a living doing that. But we get to see these bands that are making a living without being, this like arena selling kind of thing. But with stand-up comedy, you don't see, stand-up comics that make $40,000 a year. Those people are invisible to you. You're like, well, I'm not going to be as funny as Norm Macdonald or whatever. And someone told me, you don't have to be. You can be, it's great to shoot to be the best person, the best person in a field, but it's okay to shoot to be in the middle of a field. And it kind of made me go like, oh, maybe I should try this. Yeah, maybe I don't have. Yeah, I didn't think that you could be a successful, independent, not famous comedian. But I mean, it makes sense.
It wasn't until I started listening to like comedians podcasts when I didn't realize that those local scenes of comedy. Well, it's like those guys that are like, so if someone was in New York, they're like, there was this guy that would always do Kill in New York, but no one knew him at all. But he would just do shows in New York.
Yeah.
He'd make a fallen living out of it. And I was like, you can do that. I was like, that's mental.
There's a whole like host of people going around America that you've never heard of, and they go and they play Des Moines, Iowa, They play, you know, Albuquerque. You know, they're playing all these places you've never heard of, and they make a decent living doing it. And they're, you know, that's cool. I can do that shit. Okay, sweet.
Speaking of comedy, have you ever seen the clip of Bill Burr roasting Philadelphia?
I haven't seen him roast Philadelphia. I've seen Bill Burr like live a fair amount, and
so jealous.
it's like and I mean, this is one of the things that really kind of, I think, dissuades a lot of people from doing comedy. I've seen Bill Burr 3 times. 2 of the times it was the funniest stand-up I've ever seen in my life. The 3rd time was like brutal.
Yeah.
I saw him twice, and it was the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. And my girlfriend, I was like, he was coming to town a 3rd time. I was like, we gotta go. This is literally, I've never laughed harder in my life. And we went and we sat there in silence for about 20 minutes before she was like, is this the best comedy you've ever seen? And I was like, no, I don't know what's happening tonight.
What's going on?
And it happens to everybody. As you get better, it happens a smaller and smaller percentage of a time. But no matter what level you are at comedy, at some point you will go out into a room of anywhere from 5 to 5,000 people, and you will tell them jokes, and they will all go, no. And you'll go, no. I mean, in Bill Burr's case, you can go, look, there's a lot of evidence that tells me I'm funny and it's your fault. And the audience will still be like, no.
Yeah, it's quite interesting as well, because I think, like, I've watched stand-up comedians and stuff, and when they talk about it, it's like there's certain places that just, no matter what, just do not get the jokes. Like,
yeah. And it's weird. There's like certain there's like, then there becomes like these towns, even like Houston, Texas is notorious among comedians for being an awful place to do comedy. Comedians hate Houston, and it's just like this whole town is just, it was like, yeah, you go to Houston, you're gonna have an awful show. And it had like, I use Houston as an example because there's a club here called Yuck Yucks London, and it's the same kind of thing. The amount of comics that just fucking die there, that you're like, damn, I've worked with this guy 100 times, and every other time it's fine. But you go to Yuck Yucks London, it's just fucking just a fucking noose in the hotel room afterwards.
Honestly, I can't recommend this clip of like Bill Burr rinsing Philadelphia because it's so perfect. Because I watched it, and then I watched the story behind it, and he explained that he went basically. He was an outdoor like sort of like comedy gig, and it was in a massive football arena, and he said all day they'd been drinking like as the crowd, so they started heckling all these comedians. So he said all day I had seen comedians go through bomb, and it wasn't even that they were doing bad. I was watching them from the side, and I was pissing myself laughing. It was just they were being assholes. So he said he went on the fucking stage, and he told like one joke and it bombed, and he went, you know what, fuck it. So he just started talking shit about Philadelphia. So he's like saying, yeah, I had a good fucking football team since I started. And as he's doing it, he's counting down because he knew he had only 30 minutes. So he's there like 10 more minutes and then another fucking counting down 10 like by 10-minute interviews, and he goes 5 minutes, thank you, fuck you.
Yeah. That's you can really, once you kind of get used to bombing, because every comic has to get used to it, no matter how good you are. Like I said, it happens sometimes, and the first couple times it happens, it's like the ALS ice bucket challenge. You're just like, what? You're freeze, you're like confused, you're terrified, you're like, what the hell is going on? But then if you get comfortable in the situation, you go, oh shit, I'm bombing tonight. You can really kind of open yourself up and feel free. You can really feel unshackled, and you can go, okay, all those things that I've been scared, maybe I've had a joke I've been scared to try because I don't want to waste a set. like this is a little edgier joke, or this is a joke I'm not sure about, or I just want to fucking scream about Philadelphia for 30 minutes straight. But I normally wouldn't do that because I'm being paid to be here. I'm trying to be a professional. I'm not trying to have a weird time for everybody involved. But you're like, okay, this time is weird. Let's have fun. I'm free. This couldn't go worse. So let me just do whatever I want. And every once in a while, yeah, you can have a magical moment where it's like everybody's been bombing, and then you just turn the whole thing around because you finally got to see enough people bombing to go, all right, zero expectations going on here. I'm dead inside. You can't hurt me.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, so I want to ask as well. Obviously, from looking at your Instagram, you can fair to say you live a fruitful life. What has been like the most craziest night out in the town that you've had that you can recall?
Oh, God, there's a there's a town in Canada called Sudbury, and Sudbury is one of those, like, Canada's really big, right? Canada's super big, and there's not a lot of people here. It is a bunch of small pockets of people spaced out. 80% of our population lives within like an hour of the US border, is like the kind of statistic about it. It's like we're all near the US because as you go up, things get colder and more spaced out. So we're all kind of huddled around this border for warmth. And so when you start going north, towns can get weird. And Sudbury is like pretty isolated, and it's so as a result, the whole reason is there is, again, it's like one of those things where it's like, it's an industrial town, it's a mining town. They get the whole town smells like sulfur because there's a big sulfur mine there. So it's a very salt of the earth weird place. And I did comedy there, and then I went out and there was a bar strip club. Like, I know that doesn't make sense because you're like, every strip club's a bar, but it was a bar and there was a strip club beside it, but they were attached and like had a door that you could just go between the bar and the strip club. But they were it doesn't make sense unless you go there because they're two separate establishments. Mm-hmm. So you can just go into a bar and go, I'm not going to a strip club in Sudbury. That's a level of dark I don't need my night to take. I'm not going into a mining town strip club. That is rough. And then you got in the bar, and I don't know whether sometimes if I get a little too drunk and I'm in a town where I don't have a reputation or anything, I'll just walk around the bar just picking up drinks and drink them. It's especially when you're on the road, it's a great way to tour and not spend a lot of money. But sometimes if you're in a bar attached to a strip club, there's a certain type of clientele there. And I'm pretty sure I picked up a drink and there was something in it because I just it's like a strobe light of an evening where you're like, you remember like single frames. And I definitely wound up in the strip club, and then I definitely wound up back at my hotel, and then I definitely wound up in my underwear, locked out of my hotel.
No way.
Just in my underwear. And it's like winter too. It's not like, well, I'll just go fucking sleep in an alley, whatever. I'm not above it. It's winter. I can't go outside. And there was no one at the front desk. So I legitimately figured out how to make a room key at a hotel, one of those digital ones, to get back in my room. Because that's the thing. You lock that's where the memory came back. I remember trying my door handle because it turns out the mirror, there was mirrors all over the walls in the elevator, and I wanted to take a selfie in there. And so I went out, but I went out not with my stuff on, and I forgot my cell phone. And I tried to handle, and I immediately came out of the, that hit of adrenaline that'll sober you up. And I was like, oh, fuck. And so, yeah, I literally made a room key.
I love that. It's always those nights when you just remember single frames of things. And, when you do take drinks off the side, there's always that kind of fucking worry that someone's put some shit in this. And I swear there's been a few times to me as well when I've been out in a club or something and I've just picked up a drink.
Yeah.
And it's like someone slipped some shit in it because I don't remember a single fucking thing from that night.
Yeah.
And the worst part is it's when it's like it just hits you straight away and you're like, oh shit.
This is happening.
Uh-oh.
It's like when it immediately hits you and you're like, oh no. This is gonna be
That doesn't feel the way vodka normally feels.
Yes. I always say it's something like that happens. I remember it happened once with one of my friends, and the minute it touched me, like lips, it tasted different. So I was like, I knew there was something in it. I turned around my mate, and I was there like, this could go one or two ways. And he went, either whatever's in this drink's really fun, and I'm gonna have a great time, or it's really bad, and you're gonna have to take care of me. And he went, okay. And then it was the first one, and I was there like, turns out the first one got nothing to worry about, but I had a really bad feeling it was going to be the second one.
Yeah, right.
I was like, I know, it one of those things. I was like, I kind of got, if anything, lucky there, because it could have been
sure.
worse.
Well, you guys, your little island there loves the club drugs of both the. It's crazy, like because like people do drugs here and people do like cocaine a fair amount here, but like just based on the fact that the way Canada works is it's easy to get drugs. It's a big country. There's ports. We could make the drugs here. You guys just have it's just MDMA and ecstasy everywhere all the time.
That's the most craziest thing. Like, honestly, like when I first left school and I kind of went into my adult life of just going out clubbing and going to uni and stuff, like I never realized how many people do drugs, because it's always that thing in school. Like, it's like, nah, that must be such a small percentage of people that go out and do drugs. So I was like, wait a minute, everyone that I know has done drugs at some point. I was like, wow, that's just kind of crazy.
Because in the school, they're always like, if you do any drug once, you're going to wind up sucking dick for it 2 days later. It's going to be crazy. And you're like, oh, shit, I shouldn't do drugs. And then you're like, see someone do drugs, and you're like, wait a minute, I know him. He's a lawyer.
I remember, though, the thing is, though, like here, I think it's so normalized. Like, it's so weird, like, how normal it is. Like, I've spoken to people, and they've been like, oh, yeah, I'm like, I've smoked weed and that's the most I've ever done. I've been like, is it really? And they're like, and they'll be like, someone
in a job interview, homie.
Yeah, like someone's like, it's like an international band. Someone like, oh, we smoke weed and that, and they're like, oh, that's like what we do in high school in the UK. Well, as soon as we finish high school, it's on to the harder stuff like ecstasy and coke. And it's like straight away.
Like, you're just talking about Tuesday, right?
One of my favorite articles just was about how you guys can't buy like the whipped cream canisters of nitrous because dudes are just standing outside of clubs with balloons. $10 a balloon, let's go.
I think as a country we've got no chill, because I think like there's an idea that British people are like prim and proper, but if you come here for like half a day, you realise we are messes of people. Like there's people. There's like vending machines in Germany, right, that have beer in it. Our country can't be trusted with that. It's fucking empty by the end of the day.
That's true.
An hour, the people actually be like, yeah, fuck it, just keep giving me it.
That is the most interesting thing, is like people's perception of like the UK is like completely right, to be honest. Like when you say we're messes and we have like, way too much drugs and way too much alcohol, like that's completely right.
I was doing my buddy's little Twitch show yesterday, and we were just talking about fights, and he was like, I've never been in a fight, and I was like, I feel like that's pretty normal, like in Canada, like it takes a lot to get in a fight, and then because a lot of comics live in the UK. And we got to talk about the UK. I was like, yeah. In the UK, a fist fight is there's a lot lower barrier of entry for a fist fight in the UK. It's like, you can very easily get in a fist fight if you want, but it's like weird because it's like very British as well, where it's like you'll get in this fist fight and then, like, if you see each other again, it's not like a like just no one talks about it. It's like, yeah, we got in a fist fight once, but don't talk about it. Don't acknowledge it.
It
cool
is
now.
literally like that in the UK, though. Like, I'm not even kidding. I've seen people like, I remember once I saw a full-on like fight outside a nightclub, right? Because someone was eating a KFC and the guy made him drop a wing out of his hand, and he just threw his entire KFC on the floor and had a full-on fight with a guy. And after, they shook hands and walked away.
Yeah, right. I mean, the whole wings are very, very.
It's like there's just that spike of emotion, and then you're like, we can't have had. We accidentally expressed emotion. Let's put that to bed.
Like, do you want to go for a drink? Yeah. Have you got ecstasy? Yeah, of course we have. Come on.
I'll buy another hot wing. It's fine.
What sort of got you into heavier music then? How did you sort of get into heavy metal?
I mean, I feel like for a lot of people, it's the same where it's like, it's kind of weird to like, it's hard to separate. It's like a chicken or the egg thing where you're like, you were kind of a little more, you were like a little weirder as a kid and you kind of like were a bit of an outcast as a kid. And then you kind of found music where it was like it's more celebrated to be an outcast. And then you could kind of like take it on and be like, well, fuck you. If you don't want to hang out with me, I don't want to hang out with you then either. This is, I get this. And it was definitely like a very symbiotic relationship growing up. And then because I listened to metal at first and then I got into a bunch of punk music, and punk again really suited that. Like, well, you're all just wrong, so I don't give a shit if you like me or not, because you guys live your lives wrong, man. And it was just, and I was just happy there. So it was like, all right, cool. I don't care why this is happening. I don't care what the motivation here is. This is fun. I like this. Let's just keep rolling with this. And then, everything worked out great.
Absolutely. And like, so going back to Banger then, like, how did he get joined with Banger? Like, what was the origin story behind that? And, what's been your favorite moment since being in Banger?
Complete luck. Complete luck. It was Lisa Ledesser, our old producer, does a bit of stand-up comedy as well, and she just happened to see me do stand-up and was like, I assume you listen to metal. I was like, yeah. She's like, do you want to come in and just be like a guest on one of our shows? And I came in, I was a guest, and it's a weird niche that I'm filling, because normally they get guests and they're either musicians or they work for a label. It's just people that are knowledgeable about the subject, but aren't naturally trying to, directly entertain people with their words. Musicians, they entertain people, but they do it generally through like an instrument. For me, I'm just trying to entertain people however the hell I can. I'll pick up a goddamn rubber chicken and do it if I have to. And so it was like, oh, hey, this went really well. And it's like, yeah, that's what I do. I try and entertain people through whatever medium I can. And it was just a really natural fit, and things went great, because it is metal comedy is, I think, a very untapped niche, because, sure. There's certainly the stereotype of the very serious, dour, aggressive metalhead, but I feel like most people that like metal acknowledge that it's ridiculous. It's silly. It's stupid,
That's absolutely right.
And the one of the greatest moments was it was the Slayer, like the first round of the Slayer final tour. We'll see how final it is, and we were just having a great show. It was the whole Banger team went to the show, and we were all having a great time. And at one point, we're backstage talking with just some people that work in the Canadian music industry, and this guy comes, and he's like clearly a Slayer fucking crew member, because he's got a fucking lanyard on. He's got a Slayer crew shirt from like '92. He's like fucking this. He's tiny, but he's fucking huge. He's jacked, but tiny. And he's like really intense. And one of these guys, he's like, hey, what the fuck, man? Because it turns out this guy just went in the Slayer's dressing room and said like, hey, great show, man, which seems like a very innocuous thing. But there were signs everywhere backstage. Do not go into Slayer's dressing room. No level of backstage pass lets you go into Slayer's dressing room. You want to go to Lamb and God's dressing room? Do you have this pass? Fine, that's cool. You want to go into Behemoth's dressing room? You got this pass? That's fine, cool. No Slayer dressing room. So this dude is just like, what the fuck, man? The guy's like, sorry. And then he beats him up. And then he's like, what the fuck are you looking at? And then he tries to throw a chair at us, and it got like hooked on a railing. And the security guard came over, and we're like, oh, thank God, a security guard's coming over to break this up. And the security guard was like, hey, yeah, you guys got to go. This guy's getting beaten up. And we're like, oh, shit. And then we just walked away. And it was like such a great moment, because it was like, it just really felt like something out of like a 80s tour doc, where it was just like we were backstage and some guy got beaten up by one of the crew, and it seemed like this guy's crew job was just to beat people up for Slayer. And I was like, damn, this is a sick rock and roll moment. Thank you, Banger, that I got to be there. It was me and DK. We laughed, and we were just dying laughing. We were like, that was crazy.
That's fucking amazing. I'm just gonna take a quick toilet break, guys. I'll be back in a second.
No,
yeah, no worries.
Wait a second.
Oh, Brad, the beer's gone straight through him.
Yeah. You know,
How you doing anyway?
I'm doing great. You know, did 4 hours of streaming Resident Evil and then hanging out here with you guys. So it's fun. It's been a good day.
Yeah. I was really looking forward to this, to be fair, because I was like, I get to talk to Blayne. I was like, I've watched like a shit ton of his reviews. I've watched how to get into Doom and like all the new stuff you do with Banger as well. And I was like, it feels surreal, like actually being able to talk to him.
Well, right, because I mean, it's always nice too, and like to talk to guys like you, because it's like I feel like I've always already been having a conversation with you, just how I do my videos. So it does feel like kind of you've seen me, so now I'm talking to you, and we're just like kind of picking up a conversation.
Yeah, we've had like many like interviews where it's been like a surreal experience. Like we interviewed Cradle of Filth a couple like weeks back.
Nice.
And we were interviewing like the guitarist, and I was like, there was like a moment where I was like, I'm talking to the guitarist for Cradle of Filth.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's honestly, it's even crazy to have you on, because I spend so much time watching your reviews and the amount of monthlies and everything like that. It's like, if I could weigh up all the time I've probably seen your face without actually speaking to you, it probably would be at least about a few days.
Yeah, right?
It's
like we've been having a conversation the whole time. We're just picking up again.
It's honestly what it feels like, to be honest. Yeah.
Where in the UK are you guys?
Leeds.
Yeah, okay. So we're like the north. Yeah, if you ever seen Game of Thrones, it's pretty much like the Winterfell.
Yeah, my mom's from Scotland, so I got my citizenship. I go back every once in a while. I literally had a trip to London booked for May 2020.
Oh, no.
So I'll be in the UK as soon as I'm allowed to, because I've got a plane ticket that I need to redeem. But,
have you been like down to the north of UK then?
Down to the north. Interesting.
Yeah. It would be up down to the
north. No, I haven't spent much time in the north. I've done like, you know, I've done a bit of just around London and then Scotland and Northern Ireland.
Yeah, no, like the north of the UK. I'm not just saying this because I'm from there. I love it way more than London. I've been to London and it's too busy for me. Because I'm up north, it's very very calm.
Yeah.
Got not to worry about. You know, everyone's got to be somewhere, but they're not really that asked about getting there. So like, it's a lot calmer. And I remember once when I went to London, I like to just walk and taking the surroundings. But Jesus Christ, I was getting bumped into. Yeah. I was there like, I'm not used to it, something being this busy. Like, is there something going on? Is there like a parade or some shit? Like people, and I was like, oh wait, it's London. It's the capital of the fucking UK. Like,
yeah.
So like, it makes sense. One thing I want to ask is not related to Banger, not related to your comedy, not related to music. It was actually about your tattoos, because I remember when I first started watching you, your tattoos were the most striking part. Like, what was like the first tattoo you got, and what is like your favorite tattoo?
Yeah. The first tattoo I got was I have this very sketchy lightning bolt here. It was done with just like a sewing machine needle and some ink in a park when I was like 17 or 18 by a
Nice.
girl I had a crush on. So that was the first tattoo I got. The one, funnily enough, the one that like I have two that like are my absolute favorites, which is this, which is like a Tasmanian tiger drinking from a chalice of blood, and then I have an insane back piece that's like just giant and massive and done by one of my best friends in the world, Dan Bones, who's an amazing tattooer. But this guy was done by this guy Raphael Delalande, who is a super cool guy. He's got all these crazy stories. He lived in like the Amazon rainforest for a minute. Very cool guy, but he's one of those fucking terrifying looking fucking humans you're ever gonna meet, because he's like 6'2" or 6'4", like a pretty big guy. He's got all exclusively black work tattoos, including on his face. He's got like a fly on his forehead, a bunch of like vein things everywhere. And I lived in Paris, France for a year, and I went to him and Guy Tattooer's art show. And originally I was going to get tattooed by Guy, and I just wanted to be like, hey, talk to him, set up an appointment. But then I met Raphael, and he's like, he came up to me and was like, hey, why are you here? And I was like, oh no, am I getting fucking thrown out of this art show with this guy? And I was like, and it turns out he wasn't trying to be aggressive. He was just like, Paris, for some reason, massive city, very small, like tattooing's not big in France at all, and especially not Paris. You know, you walk around the UK, you walk around Canada, you walk around the States, the amount of people you see with sleeve tattoos, especially nowadays, is like fucking everybody. There's like nobody tattooed in Paris. So he was just trying to be like, hey, you're our heavily tattooed guy, and I've never met you, which is weird because I'm a tattooer here. And we just ended up having this great time all evening, and it was like the nicest guy, but he just is an absolute terrifying man. And when you first look at him, and it was such a fun experience. I was like, oh fuck, I gotta get tattooed by Raphael. And then I got tattooed by him. I love the tattoo, and he now tattoos at a place called Seven Doors in London. And I was like going to London to get tattooed by him, and then there was a global pandemic.
Is there any like tattoo artists that you've seen that you'd love to get work done?
Oh yeah,
with them, like, because I there's so many tattoo artists that I follow that I was like, if I could afford to get the plane ticket, I would literally book in with them like that same day and be like, get it done, come on.
There's this guy, and I'm so bummed. There's this guy named Gakken, a Japanese tattooer. He does this like mostly almost exclusively black work, mostly freehand, and it's like sort of Japanese, but then sort of black work, and then sort of modern, and it's like a really cool thing he does. And I wanted to get tattooed by him for years. I emailed him and I was like, hey, can I get tattooed by you at some point? And he was like, yeah. And we had started to set up a date, and I was going to Japan to get tattooed by him. And then some stuff happened, and I wasn't able to make the Japan trip. And then the next time I was able to go to Japan, I was looking, and his books are closed now. He's just one of those guys, you know, eventually guys just close their books because they like, he does like full body suits on everybody. So if he has 40 clients, he's booked up for the next 8 years, you know, right? So, but I'm still hoping one day it's either one day his books will open up again, or maybe one day I'll get famous enough that I can send him a message being like, come on, bro.
Absolutely. I love what you said as well about just like how your tattoo stories came about. Like my girlfriend, for example, like she got like her first tattoo in like a basement somewhere, just like someone that had no tattoo experience at all, was just had like a needle and just fucking did it. Like I think my first tattoo story was just kind of boring. This one's like, quite a popular tattoo studio in Leeds anyway. So yeah, I'm kind of envious of those like sort of origin stories of people getting tattoos when there's like these really sketchy areas of the people that just like do not know how to do tattoos.
Hey, that might not be your first tattoo, but you can have that story any day you want. You and Nathan just fucking, you guys get drunk one night, grab some needles, get cracking. I mean, obviously try and figure out some sterile procedures and stuff. Don't give anybody any blood diseases, but you know, you can have that anytime you want.
No, me and Nathan, to be honest, that'll probably happen at some point. Where
well, yeah, because I was gonna buy a tattoo gun during lockdown. I was like, actually, bad idea, because I know what the type of person I am. I'll just sit there and tattoo my leg,
Yeah, your leg,
and then just be like, oh wait, this is permanent.
Yeah.
I would literally sit there for hours just tattooing like shit on my leg, and then be like, I've just got doodles on my fucking leg now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you don't need that
now.
level of that combination of like impulse satisfaction and permanency is not a good, like, anytime I've had like when I had screen printing supplies in the house, I would just have a dumb idea and then I'd have a dumb idea on a t-shirt and I'd be like, yeah, nice. And then like a week later, I'd be like, I can't believe I made this shirt. Get this shit the fuck out. But if I was just sitting there with machines, oh no.
I'll tell you, I'm way too impulsive to like do something like that. If I had a tattoo gun, I'd have to get it confiscated from me because I'm too impulsive to do something.
Yeah,
like
you gotta
that.
get a gun safe for it. You gotta keep it and the ammo in 2 different locked things.
You know what's great though about like getting tattooed? I found is I have I've got I'm getting like a sleeve of like musicians that I just really enjoy the music from, and it's all photorealism. And the guy that I get it done, Liam, he said to me once, he went, you know, I was thinking about my job, and he goes, I think 90% of my job is being a therapist, and then the 10% is being a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
And I was like, why do you think that? He went, because the amount of shit I talk to people on a daily basis. Like, he went, it's basically like I am a therapist for like 9 hours a day, and then I go, right, see ya. I hope you enjoy your tattoo too. By the way, I'd go get that checked out because like that was a really, really deep thing that you mentioned, and I think you need to see.
Right?
Well, I mean, tattoo artist now.
Especially especially when you get like good at it, you know, it's a lot of what you're doing is like, okay, I'm good at this. I know how to do this. This is a bit like there's a bit of the art. The artistry is a lot of the time drawing it beforehand. The executing of it on someone's skin is the more like technical skill. It's like being like a cabinet maker where it's like, yeah, I came up with the plans for this cabinet because I'm an artist, but this is the part where I'm the craftsman. And so, yeah, you got to sit there. And especially when people start getting bigger tattoos, you're like, I got to sit here with this guy for 6 hours. I can't sit here in silence. That's going to make 6 hours feel like 12 hours for both of us.
Well,
that's the thing, some social skills.
That's the thing. Like, I think because I've picked a great tattoo artist, like, because I get on with him quite well. Yeah. So like, I got my Lemmy done, literally like other week. 9 hours, and for the full 9 hours there was not a single bit of silence,
right?
The full 9 hours me and him just talk shit all the way through.
And I mean, that's kind of like I mean, that's how most of, I know there's a lot of talented tattooers in the city, but yeah, a lot of times if you're, for people that get more tattoos and when you're getting bigger stuff, they've passed the art, they've cleared the bar artistically, but then you're like, well, I just have to want to sit with this person for that many hours, right? I haven't been tattooed by someone except I got tattooed in Japan. Like when I go to Japan, I'm not there long enough to know anyone, but everyone else that I get tattooed by, it's like, we're supposed to tattoo for 8 hours. The 2 hours at the start is us drinking. The 2 hours at the end is us drinking. And I'm like, bro, we've been working on this back piece for 2 years because every time we start trying to do this shit, 4 hours we lose to goofing around.
They have to absolutely they have to talk and they have to keep me entertained because I am the most impatient motherfucker in the entire world. Like I cannot stand waiting for things. So if they talk to me, it's absolutely great because I can be entertained throughout the entire thing. If that's not there, then I'm just gonna lose my fucking mind.
Yeah, I know, right? This is like I'll just show it to you because you wouldn't have seen it. So I went to Japan and got tattooed by. Okay, let's pull it up. I got tattooed by a super cool guy there, but it's in Japan, and his English isn't bad. His name's Ganji. He did this cool little gross monster on the back of my leg, and he tattooed me and my wife, and both of us, like that tattoo took like 45 minutes. He did like a big tattoo on her arm and it took me like maybe 2 hours. But his English isn't great, so we can't really have a conversation. So in my head, I'm like, damn, this dude is just like, damn, I can't talk to these people. I got to burn through these things. And he did a flawless job. But I just figure he's tattooed so many, you know, just Americans, Canadians, people from the UK, because he's like internationally known, that he's just gotten so good at just fucking blasting through that shit, being like, damn, it's awkward sitting here with someone for an hour not saying anything. I need to get this tattoo done.
I can imagine, like, I imagine when there's such a language barrier, you're like, I'm just gonna just crack on, and I hope for the best, like, and hopefully they don't complain, and then I have to go, shit, now I need to figure out what the fuck they're saying. I'm really sorry, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I want to ask anyway. So in terms of like doing the sorry, bear with me. So, you know, obviously you do your stand-up, you do your reviews. What is your remedy for curing writer's block?
Literally just doing anything else. Like, just like I said, doing something else. A lot of times, like, I find writer's block is like secretly depression that you don't realize you're having, because I think a lot of people associate depression with, like, you know, they watch a television show, and people that haven't really experienced like honest clinical, like, you know, not necessarily for like, not, people get depressed because like, oh, I got fired, I'm sad. And yeah, that makes sense, but that's not really depression. Depression is like, hey, I just got married and I got the job of my life. Boy, do I not want to see my wife or do that job. What? Why is that happening? That's not right. So I find a lot of the times it's just like, you don't realize you're just depressed. And if you just kind of try and do something else and, you know, try and get yourself out of that depression, because a lot of times, you know, the cure for depression is like, you know, changing your routine, breaking your isolation, that kind of stuff. Whereas, you know, the thing that's not going to help you is being like, I've got writer's block, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down for 4 hours a day and write no matter what. You're like, oh God, no, it's gonna really drive you in the hole. It's like the yips in baseball, you know. You got to get yourself out of that mindset. The reason you're not pitching good is not because you're not pitching enough. It's because something's going on in the noggin that you need to get dealt with. And, you know, like, go to therapy, try and find, if you've got shit going on, try and find an appropriate medication regime. I'm on 2 medications right now. Boy, everything is better almost exclusively. Wow. Getting the right medication can really, I was talking to, I did an interview with the Nat from Nat's What I Reckon, who's really blown up over it. And we just both took a little while to talk about, like, damn, finding what makes you happy. He was like, I just go and I sit in the ocean like every day, and that fixes it. You know, finding that thing, talking to somebody, getting the right prescription if you need medication, you know, talking about that stuff, you know, not keeping it under wraps, I find, is generally the cure for any sort of writer's block. It's not that you're not, especially if you're doing something and you're good at it, it's not that you're not good enough at it. It's that something's going on the inside.
No, absolutely. And I think like nobody understands, like, when it comes to depression, like, there's no one single cure. Like, people have the different techniques of like dealing with it, but it's obviously as well, it's like when you do things when you've got depression, it's almost like you got an anchor attached to you. So, you know, when you try and do anything, like, you're held back by that. So yeah, you know, the people need to take that into account. Like, that is a big fucking thing.
Yeah, and I was talking to Nat, and we seemed like the exact same person. And when we talked about our issues, it sounded the exact same. And I was like, yeah, I'm on this medication. And he was like, oh, I tried that a couple months ago. It made me feel like a goblin. And so, yeah, you know, try out medications. You got to try. There's a variety of them you can try. You know, because I have really bad anxiety, which is, you know, surprises people because they always assume performers don't have anxiety. And it's like, no, the reason I'm a performer is because I have an anxiety disorder. Yeah. Right. Yeah. when the first thing they do when you go in and you say, hey, I got anxiety, they go, okay, well, the first treatment is antidepressants tend to treat anxiety well, and antidepressants have some side effects, and one of the side effects that every antidepressant causes for me is they make you not have fun having sex. And that is not that's not on the table. That's not an acceptable. I'm not entertaining that conversation. Yeah, this makes me not have fun having sex. I'd rather maybe kill myself. I'll take that.
I'll take my chances.
Honestly, like it's fucking weird. Like when I first went to go to the doctors about like anxiety and depression, like the doctor straight away was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna give you some drugs. It's like he automatically assumed from the get-go that like I was only in there to get the drugs. Like, no, I actually generally want help.
Yeah, I know, right?
like, bro, what do you mean?
And I mean, there's also things where sometimes the side effects are fucking sick for what you're trying to do. Like if you were a sex addict, maybe that would help you. You know what I mean? But for me, one of the ones I'm taking right now, one of the side effects is weight gain. And I was like, oh man, I work out all the time and I can't put on weight. I'm really skinny. And it was like, okay, well, the side effect of this is weight gain. And I was like, that sounds not like a side effect. That sounds like this is a 2-for-1. Let's try this out. And then I started taking it at the start of COVID, and I've been working out all COVID, and I put on 30 pounds of muscle, and I'm like, damn, not a side effect confirmed. Thank you.
This is a plus.
I think the best thing that I've done for it is one thing that really made me depressed was my job. Like I worked at this place for 4 years, and I'd say for the last 2, I was like, I hate this place with like all burning passion. And I got someone that messaged me on LinkedIn. It was a company. They're like, oh, we want to sit down and talk to you. We really like your experience. Told me on the call, you've got the job. So I'm not even kidding. I finished the call, called up my manager, like, I quit. And he's there like, oh, are you working your notice? I was like, yeah, I'm working my notice. But for those like that 1 month, you're getting nothing from me.
Yeah. Do not just look. I appreciate that I worked here for 4 years, so I'll tell you this: I will work my notice, but do not count on me for anything critical during that period. I will be a warm body here.
I'm not even kidding. That's what it was. They're like, did you do that report, Nathan? And I was like, oh, no. Oh, could you do it next week? No. Could you do it the week after? No. Are you going to do it at all? No, probably not. I'm just going to sit here and get the money.
Yeah, you could fire me.
Like, you could fire me, but I've got a job lined up anyway. Yeah. Like, you might as well.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing that people need to hear is like, try and make your dreams happen a little bit, because a lot of dreams seem impossible. And, a lot of times it's just like fear and stuff, you kind of just gotta, at some point you gotta bite the bullet. And, worst thing, we all get kind of programmed to think like, oh, I need to be on this career path. And if I miss 2 years, every 2 years, I fall behind, everybody's going to be ahead of me. And it's like, only you care about where you are on this line. No one else cares about where you are on the line. Oh, you're 36, not 34. Well, you can't be a system administrator anymore. No, you can for sure. Just whatever, or maybe your dream is to be assistant administrator and you're fucking doing something else. Try and do the thing you want to do before you decide like, oh, it's impossible.
I think like the most important thing is just that you set yourself goals, but then you got to acknowledge like the steps that you've taken, because the moment you forget that is when you sort of get complacent and you start to question everything that you've done. And I think it's just, you got to just like give yourself credit for everything that you've done up until that point, because it's led you to where you are now. And I think like, yeah, that is a big thing with anxiety and depression, that you just need to appreciate where you've come. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's hard to see how far you are from the start and the finish, right? You're sitting there going like, boy, my life sucks. I'm going nowhere. And then you don't realize that like the guy sitting beside you is like, boy, I wish I was fucking that guy.
Yeah, exactly. What would you say is like so, if you're dealing with anxiety, you're dealing with depression, like what's your remedies for that? Like, how would you sort of get yourself into the mindset to get out of that?
it's a really hard thing to do because it's very self-perpetuating, but like just what I think the thing we all do when that stuff starts to flare up is we bail on plans we make with friends. And damn, just that one outing with a friend. I know you right now it's harder to have outings with friends, but you know, you can have a Zoom call. You know, me and a bunch of comics play poker once a week on Zoom and just all say the terrible things that comics say when no one's listening. And it's so like, if it wasn't for that, oh man, I would have fucking quit my job and told everybody to fuck off and I have a great job and everybody's great. You know, it's really force yourself to like get out of the house and see a person is really almost the solution to all of life's problems. Just people, man. And you know, you got some people in your life, and we all neglect all of the people in our life. And just, man, reach out to that person and be like, hey, you want to hang out? Because you're doing something good for them yourself, but you're also doing something good for them, and you're kind of preventing that happening in another person. And if we all just do that, we can, you know, decrease the levels of sadness in the world.
Definitely. Like I'll speak to Brad. Like I think I speak to Brad every day.
You do,
like legitimately every day. But like, I'll sometimes, it won't even be like podcast related. I'll pretend it is, but I actually really wanted to have like a rant about something, because Brad can like contest that I've got really bad anger management skills. So the way I deal with it is, instead of just waiting for it to bottle up and then doing an unhealthy thing of just being like having to go at like a sandwich because you made it wrong, I call my mates up and then I'd rant about it for 45 minutes and I go, I feel better now.
I'm big on this. As men, tell your male friends you love them and give them a hug.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps us from murdering people.
Yeah.
I know. I always tell my friends I love them, like no hesitation. I was like, oh, I love you, dude. I'm like, oh, cheers. I feel like a lot of guys like try to be all macho and be
they
like,
go around it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like that might. The thing is, if you're my friend, I count you the same as family. So it's like I do love you to bits. Like so fucking. What if I would do like just fucking? I love my friends to bits. Like, and I don't mind showing it like openly and being like, oh, these like guys are my friends. Like,
yeah.
Like it's like when we all meet up, like the amount of times we're all fucking like. Ed's a great example, one of our friends. He's literally the biggest cuddler ever. Like, he will literally come over and dive on you and, like, just fucking sit there on you, and you'd be like, all right, it'd be like, all right at first, and you're like, all right, I love you, man, but can you please get off my lap now? It's getting a bit weird. It's been 25 minutes, Ed.
I mean, I can't count the times, at least last night, because last night was like my birthday drinks. You know, we went out for like a few pints and stuff like that. So yeah, that definitely comes about when you just have to tell your friends how much you love them, and it's fucking.
You know, nor will I doing it. Make sure everybody knows. You know, it's out. There's so many guys that are so scared that they gotta like toss a man or bro, and they gotta punch you in the arm after they do. Just relax, man.
Exactly. Just fucking give that shit up. So yeah, we are coming to sort of the end point of the interview now. One way I like to leave it is, what advice would you give to someone starting out, maybe just stand-up comedy, starting Twitch streaming, anything that you know you can relate to? What advice would you give to maybe younger self or someone starting out that wants to do something creative, I suppose?
My advice for everybody is always realizing that it sounds bad, but it's really good to know at the start that nobody gives a fuck what you're doing. I think like a big hurdle is going like, oh, but I'm not good at guitar, so I feel embarrassed to play my first show, or I feel embarrassed to play guitar in front of someone because they're going to go, wow, that guy's not good at guitar, blah, blah, blah. They might think that for 30 seconds, but then they're going to forget about you, and you got to spend the rest of your life fucking not having played that show. You know, nobody's going to give a shit about what you do at the start. So use that as a good thing, not a bad thing, to just go out there and do that thing and go like, I've got a period in space where I can do this completely stress and anxiety free. Like once you get bigger at something, that's when people start watching you do it, and you got to worry about how you look at it. When you're new, fucking go out there and be fucking awful at something, and be awful at something in front of a bunch of people, because they're going to go, that guy sucked at that, and then they're going to leave, and they're never going to think about you again. And if they do think about you again, they're going to laugh at you, and that'll make their day better. So best case scenario, they never think about you again. Worst case scenario, you gave someone a hat that you provided a little nugget of happiness in someone's day. So always it's a win for the world. You're getting better at something. They got a chuckle or didn't even think about you. So don't be worried about not being good at something at the start. Everybody sucks at something at the start. And if people that are good at something when they first start, fuck them. Those people fucking suck. They're always assholes.
No,
100%, man.
Absolutely right. Now, I think it's very important to like not let people's judgment cloud your, imagination and your creativity. Because I think, when you start out with something, you're gonna get people that are gonna hate it, you're gonna get people that are gonna love it, but at the end of the day, you got to do what you love, and you can't let anybody get in the way of that. Especially with me and Nathan starting this podcast. Like, when we first started, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
Yeah, our
But,
first
like,
episode was 3 hours of us just talking nonsense, and none of it made sense. But then, like, we slowly started. We did reviews. We want that great reviews, and we were like, okay, what do we actually want to do? And we're like, well, I want to interview people.
Yeah.
And Brad White, I also want to interview people. I'm like, wow, we'll just start interviewing people, and we just started getting people on, and then it rolled from there.
No, it's fun. You guys are fun to talk to. It makes sense. It's like I said, find out what find out what you're bringing to it. And we've been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm a bunch of beers. Yeah, I'm having a great time. This isn't a podcast. It's a hang, and that's not an easy thing. That's not an easy environment to create. So
that is exactly what we want to go for. The most fun and forefront. We want to make sure, we have a good time. We want to speak to people. That is the main reason why we do it. Is just getting to meet people, getting to speak to them, speak about their lives, everything I love to do, and that has been the main point. It's never even about the views or the subscribers or all that kind of superficial bullshit. That is what we enjoy it for, is just having a laugh and just speaking to people. But we like to give this informal approach. We're not very formal people. Like me and Nathan are the most ridiculous, stupidest people you'll ever meet. But we want to kind of give that approach to people when we speak to them.
Yeah, and it's also nice that I've always said to Brad, well, after we interview someone, if they're ever in the UK, I like them to have the feeling that they can always message us and go for a beer with us.
Oh, I was gonna say, when I'm there, I don't know if you guys are ever in London, but I'm gonna be in London at some point.
Well, let us know, because we'll happily come down to London.
Yeah.
And have a beer with.
Absolutely, I'd love that.
No,
definitely.
We're honestly massive fans of you, and we love everything that you've done. So if you're ever in London, we'll be there for sure.
Sweet. 100%. Love to hear it.
It's from us. It's only a couple of hours on the train, so it's not far at all.
Yeah.
So literally, it would be just a case of going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hey, do you fucking come party in Toronto?
Oh, I actually want to go to Canada.
I'd love to.
It's fun, man.
Really want to go to Canada at some point. I was gonna go 2020. So 2020 was the year I was gonna finally do some traveling. I literally was skint for majority of my early adult life. So I was there you know what? I've got money now. I can go. Let's go see the world. And then 2020 happened, didn't it? So I had planned to Belgium, to fucking Germany, to Canada. I was there I'm gonna go here, here, here. I was literally putting pins on maps, going, I'm gonna be here, here. And then it's coronavirus happened. I was like, never fucking mind. I'll just
Well, hey, it was good that you didn't go to Canada, because now you can come to Canada and you got someone in the biggest city to show you around.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, Blayne, it's been fucking crazy speaking to you. It's been amazing. I'm going to enjoy watching Metal Monthly and enjoy watching the reviews. Thank you very much. And yeah, hope to see you soon if you're in the UK. I said, hit us up and we'll be there.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. We really appreciated your time.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Away from the traditional sound, epic doom metalers were embracing it wholeheartedly. They throw in some power metal wankery and really just go all in on that sound.